Good morning, everybody. Microphone, hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Wait for a couple of people to, late arrivals, sitting down. All right, welcome back to another wonderful year, I hope, of Coffee with Carlsen. I walked in this morning and Carol McCann says, according to Shadow, right? And you can fill in the gaps there. That was probably the quote of the day so far. If you all know Shadow, I'm surprised he's not here. He didn't ask me for a free ticket. So, welcome back, everybody. Really happy to see our familiar faces and a few new folks that are in the room. Really positive. We have a lot of those little white boxes on the tables. We are excited about that whole deal, trying to get everybody involved in this event. Hopefully you can carry it around town. Someone's going to say, hey, oh my gosh, what's Coffee with Carlsen? And you're going to say, oh, I think it's a really cool event that happens five times a year, and the next one's on November 13th, and we're excited to be here. November 13th, yeah, I wrote that down right. This year new is Northwestern Medicine is our presenting sponsor of this event. So I wore purple today, and so did Marcia, so she got the memo, so that's great. We're really happy to be partners with Northwestern Medicine. They've done a lot so far for our athletic department and our university and our community, so they're part of this. I think in the future we're going to have a really sweet backdrop back here, right, Tyler? Yep. So today I'm the backdrop. I'm the purple today for that effort. Want to thank Bill and Shannon and Ferranda's Lincoln Inn for supporting us again. You know, whenever we started this, you all remember, right? The loyal folks. We started this at the back of Lincoln Inn with about this group right here, right? That have been here all along. And now we've gone to that back room, and now we're in this lovely room. So I'm hoping that there's about 15 people we're missing. So Bob, find 15 friends, right? I'm not giving you a heck on that. I want to welcome Melissa Dawson, who is one of our administrators. She is somewhere. Wave your hand. Melissa, yay. Thank you for coming today. And also another one of our new administrators, Courtney Vinson. Thank you for coming today. Appreciate you. Okay. All right, I want to talk a little bit about some upcoming events. And I know Sally, where's Sally? We have lots of stuff on the table, so you can take it with you. You have to write it down. Okay. I know. You're welcome.
That's very good of you, Debbie.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So the first real big event is this Sunday. We're going to be unveiling the new video board in the convo. We're going to be showing a movie on it. It's a kids movie, so I can't recall what it is, but it'll be fun. So it's at 2 o'clock in the convo. So come see the new video board. Sort of preview of that. That's on the table, I think, right, Quinn? I got the thing on the table. And then the tip-off event that we have at Eduardo's every year, it's going to be on the 24th. That's next Wednesday. So that's the first time you'll be able to come pick up your tickets. So I know there's some questions about, when do I get my tickets? I love this. I'm so excited. That's the first day you can pick them up. If you don't get them that night and you live far, we will mail them. If you don't live far, I think we're still going to try to distribute them as a team on Halloween. So hopefully that'll work out for everybody. Talk a little bit about one other opportunity for folks. I know our loyal buddies here and people that are here all winter, but if you have people that are not going to be here all winter and they want to get a little taste of women's basketball, we have a special for them for $20. You can come to 5 of the 6 games before January 1st. So the people who have snowbird friends that are going to leave us for a little while and only watch us on ESPN3, please share that information with them. None of them are here today. I think everybody stays, right? Everybody is all in for this winter? Yeah, okay. All right. So the fall so far, we have a lot of things going on, and we have a volleyball coach and also women's soccer here to talk about their seasons, but lots of things going on. I know everyone's a huge sports fan at NIU, and I'm not going to go too much into the volleyball and women's soccer because they're really going to talk about their seasons. And I get an opportunity to introduce Ray here in a minute. I wanted to just really quickly mention we lost one of our really loyal season ticket members and also someone who's come to Coffee with Carlsen. And even before when we had the event that we had prior to Coffee with Carlsen, Patricia Hogan, she passed away last week. And I wanted to honor her today. Just a second. So I appreciate that. All right, so let's go. Ray, where you are? Oh, here we go. Introduce Ray here. He's going to go first today. We're going to flip the script a little bit and bring Lisa up second. So Ray is in his 16th season. 17th season. Thanks, Coach Carlsen. 17th season, but who's counting, right? He got his 300th career win last in September. That's great. Yay. I know he's going to talk about his student athletes, but Meg Wolowitz got her 1,000th kill last game, and that was super fun if you were there. We're going to talk about volleyball here in a second, but Ray is, and then we'll wrap up with it. But I don't want to take too much away from Coach Gooden, so, sir, thank you.
Morning, everybody. How we doing? Good. So, like Deborah said, I think she told everything. I got 300, or I shouldn't say I had. Our program, the program at 300 while I've been here, and then that was a now in reflection, it's an awesome milestone to hit. For me personally, it was good because it got us to 1-0 in league, and that helped us out a lot. And since then, we've had a couple more, and that part's been really good. Also mentioned was Meg Wolowitz hit a milestone. She hit 1,000 kills. I think at some point we're going to also figure out number of points scored from our players as we've gone from the side-out era to the rally score era. And anytime you hit a number like that, it's like 1,000 points in basketball, somewhere on those lines. So it's an incredible milestone. It's a great feat for Meg, who went from being a middle hitter on our team to being an outside hitter. And that transition's pretty significant. And for her to kind of do that, I won't say seamlessly, she's learned a lot, but for sure to be able to do it where she ends up being a strength on our team and not a weakness is definitely a credit to her and what she's done. And also to what our staff has done. So let me make sure I acknowledge our staff. In the back there is Amy wave real quick, Amy Angelos, Joe Davidson, and like mentioned before, Melissa Dawson, who's my current boss. Shout out to Deborah, who's my old boss. The biggest shout out goes to Dee Abrahamson, who's the one who hired me here 17 years ago. So if you want to blame anybody, blame her. But in all actuality, I want to thank her, like I always can, publicly, just for her giving me the chance. And like a lot of our kids here, it's about getting an opportunity. And she was very fortunate, or I was very fortunate for her to come down to Giordano's one day and hang out, have some pizza, and talk volleyball. And the next thing you know, I'm here, thinking I was going to be here for a little bit. And 17 years later, I'm continuing to do it and doing, something that I continue to love. And it's with her support and help. So thanks to her and all you guys for what you've done. About our volleyball team, currently, because we're in this moment right now, we are, what are we, Mike?
7-16, 5-3 in the league.
Thanks. So remember the more the 5-3, because that's a good thing, right? And that's Mike, our media guy. If you guys know Mike joined us this year, so we're very fortunate to have Mike. Also on our group here too is Emily. Emily Belch is our trainer, who pulls duty with not only with us but with softball. So I think and then Donovan's back there. Donovan's one of the ones I claim. After this is done, I have to go and be a chaperone and get to do daddy duty, which is pretty nice there. One more acknowledgement. Lou Jean Moyer. This NIU volleyball thing started with her a long time ago. It didn't? Yes, it did. So take the credit, please. Yes, it did. Yes. Hall of Famer, and when she can, comes out to support us as much as possible. So I definitely want to acknowledge her and all of you guys again for your support. We are 5-3 in league right now. We played some tough teams at the beginning of the year, but we try to when we can, and we hope and we feel like some of that experience helped us in conference. We've done a pretty solid job at home. We want to try to continue to do that. We had a tough loss against Buffalo on homecoming Saturday. Played against a good Buffalo team, and we just came a little short. The night before, we played a nice volleyball match against Akron. We go through our gauntlet right now. Where we're going to go 5 in a row on the road, and it's going to tell a lot. And we are one of the fortunate ones. Usually, we're the only one that gets a chance to do 5 in a row. So we're going to go play this weekend at Kent and Ohio. We've got that swing. We've also have our other half of our of our crossover with Western Michigan, and we're all battling right now. We are somewhere in the middle, I think, like for division and also for conference. Okay, so we're trying to do our best to qualify for the MAC tournament, and then put ourselves as much as we can to hopefully competing for a MAC West championship. A couple more quick things. In our wins, we have beaten now the number 1 team in Ball State. Ball State only has 1 loss, and we happen to be their only loss right now. And we've lost to Eastern Michigan, who also is up there, and Miami, who's 7-1. So it's really competitive. It's really challenging. We have 3 more home matches that are left. I think our next match is November 3rd. Does that sound about right? Okay. If you look on your tables there with all this wonderful stuff. Hey, 7 o'clock. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it. Can we give a hand to all the like again from when it started to what it is right now? This is an awesome setup, and all the things that you see right now. I think this is a really good deal. It's awesome to see how this has grown and seeing how what it's evolved to. Our next match is at home on the 3rd. Our next home match is on the 3rd, and then we'll have 2 more after that, which will be our alumni night and our senior night, somewhere around the 10th and 11th, I think. Is that close? 9th and 10th. Thank you. We play 2 more of the Michigans. We'll play Eastern and Central Michigan. So if you guys can make it out, and a bunch of you have. We would love to see you there. Our team is fun. I think the energy is always great in Victory Court, and our players love seeing you out there. And again, just appreciate your support. So thank you very much for having me here today. Bob's already asked the questions for the group, so I think we're good to go. Right? We good? Okay. Thank you. So now it is my true pleasure to introduce to you the star of the show, Lisa Carlsen.
Good morning, everybody. You know, this truly is one of my favorite events. And I think mostly because we get an opportunity to get back in the room with the people who really, really care and truly love not just women's basketball, but NIU women's sports in general. I also want to start out with a few thank yous and a few introductions. You know, as Deborah talked about the administrators in the room, I think it also shows the support, the level of support that we have when there's other head coaches in the room. You know, you can say that Ray and Julie have to be here because they're talking, but they also are here when they're not. And probably the most loyal fan, who is not always up here at the podium but always here, is Coach Sutcliffe from softball. So I do appreciate them being here on a regular basis. I also want to introduce my staff, many familiar faces, which is great to have that kind of continuity. But in the back, if I can have my staff just stand up. Oh, John's up here, so you're up here, John. So John has been here since we got here together 4 years ago. Adam is in the back. This is year 3 for him. Both Maria and Quinn is year 2 for them, and then Chrissy is our first year graduate assistant. A lot of times coaches will talk about chemistry and continuity and culture with their teams, and I think the same thing is true of a staff. I've said this for the last year or two. I feel like this is a group that really complements me. I think when you assemble a staff, it's really important that you put together people, 1, that you trust, 2, that can understand what it is expected of them and then go above and beyond, and another group that you really have a good time with. And I can definitely say that this group is all of those things, so I appreciate all you guys do. You know, we are excited and gearing up for what I think has potential to be really an exciting year for a lot of reasons. I think when you look at the roster, and Ray mentioned all the things on the table, and that's a shout out to Quinn as far as putting things on the table that you can take with you that I think are helpful as we get ready for the season. And probably the nicest piece is the little roster that you have. Good job, Quinn. I thought what I would do this morning is talk a little bit about the roster. Obviously, there's faces on there that are very familiar to, but also kind of the evolution of some of those players in preparation for when we get ready to play. The first, I want to talk about, we have 3 new players. Okay, one is Nini Salmi. You'll see her. She is number 5. Okay, Nini is from Finland. She's a grad transfer from San Francisco. And she has 2 years of eligibility left, which is kind of rare for a grad transfer, but she was able to graduate from San Francisco in 3 years and only played 2. So she has 2 years left and she can play right away. 6'2", long, can shoot, fits in really well with what we want to do. Has really been a great compliment to the team, obviously in her skill set, but also in the type of person that she is. So you will definitely see her on the floor in the rotation, and she'll be able to help us this year. And then we have 2 freshmen, Michaela Brandon, who is from Bourbonnais. Another forward, good athlete, strong, about 6'1". She does a great job of, again, she's able to stretch the defense because she can shoot the 3, but she can get a lot done in the bottom half of the lane as far as rebounding the basketball and finishes well around the rim, which is obviously something we're trying to replace, especially with Kelly being gone. The other post player the other freshman that we have is also a post player, Christina Britter. She's from Peoria, and she's probably our most true power player right now. Back to the basket, really athletic. Again, does a really good job on the glass. Has a lot to learn, but has come really a long ways in a short amount of time that she's been here. So I'm excited to watch her evolution as she continues through her career here at NIU. If we look at our sophomore class, Aaron, Riley, and Gabby, Aaron Hodges, the one thing I can say about every returner on this team, and I can say this with confidence, is that every single one of them has gotten better. And anytime you can say that from the year before, I think good things are going to happen. And Aaron definitely fits that bill. Probably one of our most athletic players. It's really hard to guard in the open court, does a great job on the ball defensively. And again, I think has put herself in position to really be effective in the rotation. Riley Blackwell, when I talked about her last year, and she got some great minutes as a freshman because she was one of the freshmen that stayed fairly healthy. Really high IQ player, has a nose for the basketball, is probably not the most flashy person or player on the floor, but at the end of the day, she's going to get a lot done. And so I think, again, Riley has put herself in position with a year under her belt to really have an impactful sophomore year. And then the other sophomore is Gabby Nikitinaite. That was pretty good after a year from England. Gabby was hurt a lot of last year with just some nagging things in and out. But if she's healthy and when she's healthy, she's probably the most dynamic player that we have, to be honest with you. Her feel for the game and her ability to play instinctively is really fun to watch. So I'm hoping that we continue to get and keep her healthy, because I do think that when you see her on the floor, she adds some flair to our game and an excitement that's different than anybody else. We have 2 redshirt sophomores. Again, 2 very familiar faces. Janae Poison, who obviously we lost her last year in the 4th game of the year to a knee injury, coming off an exceptional freshman year. I always say, when I talk about Janae, I always talk about her as being instant offense. She does not lack confidence with the ball in her hand as far as shooting the basketball, which I love, but she also puts in the work to earn the right to have that confidence. We are very hopeful that shortly we will get her back to her old self. She has a few things to continue to get back from the knee, but I'm confident that we'll get her back. And again, a dynamic player on the floor. The other redshirt sophomore, again, very well documented in her time here, is Paulina Castro. And again, Paulina spent a lot of time in the offseason getting a ton better. I anticipate that she'll be able to play some minutes, especially at the point for us, but her versatility allows her to play off the ball as well. We asked her to do a lot last year when our point position was diminished a little bit, and I think she embraced that, and she's definitely grown from that experience. We have 2 juniors, Maya Starks and Abby Wollicott. Maya, again, coming back from an knee injury, and she looks great. You'll love to see her on the court. I don't think you'll feel like Maya missed a beat. She's worked really hard to get back, and I even in practice now, she seems like the old Maya, which is great. The thing that you will notice, I think, is that she continues to grow in her leadership on the court, being the little general that we need her to be as far as running the team. So she's doing great. And then Abby Wollicott, again, somebody who has really struggled with a couple of knee issues in the offseason, but nobody works harder to get back than Abby. So I anticipate maybe not right away, but we will get her back. And she provides that, again, low post presence that we really need. So I'm optimistic that we'll get Abby back at some point. We have one redshirt junior, Allie May. Allie, again, somebody that's a familiar face and been on the floor for us a ton in the last couple years, but especially last year. And I think the evolution of a lot of these players that have game experience is what you'll see as their confidence continues to grow and the expectation that we have for them on the floor. And Allie definitely fits the bill there. I anticipate that she's going to have a great year. She really struggled through the second half of the year last year with a foot injury that seems to be much, much better. And when healthy, again, she can be very good for us as far as rebounding the basketball and being long in the paint as far as defending bigger players. Probably the two people that I want to spend a little bit more and the most time talking about are our two seniors. You know, what do you call yourselves, Court? The original group? You have some acronym that you guys always like to use. Yeah, the OGs, okay. Now, Courtney will tell you that when they first came in as freshmen, that I probably would not have recruited her, which I don't think is necessarily true. Michaela and Courtney are two seniors and two players that I don't think I could ever say thank you or give them as many accolades as they deserve in what they've been able to do for this program. Statistically, you can look at what they've done and understand how important they've been. Both 1,000-point scorers. Courtney's got a chance to elapse a number there that hasn't been done hardly ever in NIU women's basketball history. But aside from that, the evolution that they've had from a leadership standpoint is why I think I'm so optimistic about this year. You know, a lot of times, again, the difference between good and great can be pretty fragile. You have to have talent, no doubt about it. I think we do. You have to have a certain chemistry and culture within your team in order to overcome tight ball games, in order to stay together during tough times. And I think because of these two, that culture has really evolved. They are so much better now than they ever have been as far as not just their accountability, but holding their teammates accountable to a standard that needed to be set, and now is the standard for what it's like to be a member of this team. Courtney's coming back as the MAC leading scorer as a junior at almost 22 points a game. I think she would tell you that she doesn't need to average 22 a game if that means we win 10 more ball games. We put a lot on her shoulders last year in a tough situation, and she obviously embraced that and did a great job. And she is no less of a scorer, I can tell you that. But I think because of her mentality from a team standpoint, she will tell you she doesn't need that number. She needs us to compete for a championship and have an opportunity to play postseason basketball. I'm sure she'll talk a little bit about that. So that rounds out our roster a little bit. Again, I think that this is a group, because of the intangibles, that is going to be really exciting to watch. As far as our schedule is concerned, and again, you'll see our home schedule in your center of your tables. This is a pretty special year because we get the opportunity to play in the preseason WNIT, and that's not something that comes around all the time. Somebody asked me the other day, how did that evolve? How do you get to be in the preseason WNIT? I think those conversations happened 2 years ago when we played in the postseason WNIT, and the people in that organization, I remember them saying, well, do you think you're going to be any good in a couple years? And I thought, well, I mean, that's always the plan, right? You think you're going to be good every year. 2 years from now, I have no idea. Do I like our roster right now and our young kids? Yes, I do. And so those conversations continue to happen, a lot of them with Deborah, in what does it look like if we have the invitation to play in the preseason in WNIT. Since that's all come to fruition, I think the really cool part is we get an opportunity to host that first game. I think it's going to be a great way to kick off the season. We have Yale coming to town, an opponent that we've never played before. They actually won the WBI last year, which is another postseason tournament. Their program has been very solid, and they have some ties to the Midwest. So to be able to kick off the season in that tournament, which is actually a 3-game guarantee. So that's why our schedule is a little up in the air after the 8th, because it depends win, lose, where you go, when you play, for about 10 days there. But I think that's going to be really, really exciting. The first time to actually see us against someone else is in our exhibition game on November 3rd. So Ray talked about November 3rd is their next home game, and they play at 7. We play at 1 that day, so you can come watch some basketball, and then you can go get a bite to eat, maybe in downtown or whatever, and then come back and watch some volleyball. So for those avid women's sports fans, it's going to be a great day to see some volleyball and some basketball. A couple of notable games on the preseason schedule. We're going to get an opportunity to play at Indiana University, which obviously has some historic value to it. I think it'll be great atmosphere, obviously, for our kids, an opportunity to go play one of the big boys, I like to say. Indiana won the WNIT last year, so again, a very formidable opponent. I know you guys are all dying to know when Education Day is, our 11 o'clock game when you need to bring your earplugs. That will be on November 28th. We'll play North Dakota State on that day, and again, I know that some people have mixed emotions on whether they like 11 o'clock or whether they like all those screaming kids. I think from an atmosphere standpoint, though, for us, and really women's basketball around the country is something that a lot of teams have embraced as far as an Education Day, to get those kids out of school. We partner with STEM that day, and so it really is an educational opportunity for those kids that come to the game that day. We really have 2 tournaments. We're going to Montana for a tournament, playing UC Davis and Nevada in a tournament there. When is that? I don't know. It probably says it on your calendar. First part of December. And then we've started this year something with the other Illinois schools, and we call it the Compass Challenge. So this year we're going to Carbondale, and we're playing Southern and we're playing Western. And the only reason Eastern isn't in the mix for us this year is because we have them as a home game. But going forward, all 4 schools will rotate sites, and we will play that Compass Challenge for the next 4 years, which I think a lot of people have been talking about for a lot of years. Those are teams that we play most of the time anyway, so to kind of make that more of a formal Illinois school event, I think will be a lot of fun. And we will actually host that next year. So we're going to go to Carbondale and play Southern and Western. And then we finish out 2018 with 3 home games. We play Eastern, Chicago State, and then on December 31st we play Brown University, which I always laugh because we're playing 2 Ivy League schools, which we've never played Ivy League schools before. But Brown also has some ties to Chicago, so for us to get them here at home will be great. As always, I think our schedule, non-conference schedule, has great balance to it. We play some really good mid-major teams. We get an opportunity to play some Power 5 teams, and we get an opportunity to play a lot of regional opponents, which is always important, in my opinion, to make sure that we continue to stay on top of the teams in Illinois as far as NIU being the team to beat. With that, I will open it up for questions. I'm not scared, even though Ray seemed to be. Before I introduce Courtney, so does anybody have any basketball questions for me?
You don't know where after the Yale game?
We don't. I mean, we will likely, if we win, we will likely play sometime that weekend. So the Yale game is a Thursday. We will probably not host game. Again, there's still some opportunities there depending on who wins and who loses. It's a 16-team tournament. So it will play bracketed out with all the winners. But at some point, if you lose, they kind of go back to the drawing board, throw everybody back in, and then you see where you go. So I really don't have...
consolation bracket?
They don't bracket it. So they would just pair people up. Because it's a 3-game guaranteed tournament, it's not true bracketed. It is if you continue to win. I can tell you that the championship is on the 17th, which my bosses alluded that would be awesome to be playing in game number 4 of that tournament. But I don't have a ton of information on what happens after game number 1 in that tournament. Any other questions? All right. So I've asked Courtney to be here. Again, she doesn't need a ton of introduction. Many of you know, most all of you know who Courtney is. So I told her she doesn't have to get up here and say, "Hi, I'm Courtney Woods from Brisbane, Australia. I'm a senior." She doesn't have to do that. What I have asked her to do is talk a little bit about what it's been like for her and the team from the end of last season until now. What we've done in preparation for, again, her senior season, Michaela's senior season, and what that looks like going forward. So I'm going to have Courtney come up and...
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Courtney, like she said. So the last time you guys saw us, we were playing against Eastern Michigan in March, and obviously that didn't go too well, so our season ended a little sooner than we wanted to. So after that, our team gets around 2 weeks off, so that's technically our off season. So we get 2 weeks, we kind of just hang out on campus, go to class like regular students, and about 3 days into that, we're all ready to get back into it. We're sick of being bored. And so after those 2 weeks, we get kind of postseason is more like individuals and lifting. We don't have any time as a team. We graduated our 4 seniors, so it was just kind of the underclassmen and the juniors that were still there. So most of it is spent lifting. We do some conditioning. A lot of time is spent in the weight room. Postseason is a really exciting time because a lot of our team does get a lot stronger. During the season, we're not really putting that much weight on the bar, but postseason, we're really trying to get bigger, get stronger, and gain some weight. We do have some time on the court, which is usually spent with our individual coaches. So this time, we kind of try to focus on things that we're not very good at. So during the season, like we're shooting lots of reps, lots of what we're good at, but postseason, we do a lot of ball handling, a lot of defense, and just trying to get a little bit better than what we were. And then, so we do that for around 6 weeks, and then we go into our finals week, and then we kind of all focus on our finals, and then we go home. So I got to go home for 4 weeks this year. I went back home for the first time in 11 months. I get 4 weeks at home, so it's around the May break, and I don't get to go home for very long, but I'm always grateful for that time because in Australia, in May is when we have Mother's Day, and it's also my dad's birthday. So I get Mother's Day at home, and I get my dad's birthday at home. So I'm very grateful for that time I get to go home. I really didn't do much during my break. A lot of it's just spent waiting to come back to DeKalb. I was really ready for my senior season, so got back on the plane and came back to DeKalb around June. And so our whole team was there ready for summer workouts and summer school. Not many of us were in classes this year, so a lot of it were just on campus for summer workouts. So we have a good 8-week period for summer school and summer workouts. What did we do? Okay, so summer. So summer's a little scary because it's kind of known for conditioning. That's kind of all we really do in the summer is condition. And we really focus on building mental toughness. So you can work out and you can get really strong in the summer, but if it doesn't really last the whole season, it doesn't matter. But if you get mentally stronger, mentally tougher, that stays around for your whole 4 years. So during the summer, we have around 4 hours on the court. We only have really 2 practices as a team, so not much is spent at practice. We still do have our individuals, and we also have a lot of time in the weight room, but kind of the majority of our summer is spent at boot camps. So if you've heard of NIU women's basketball around campus, they've kind of known during the summer that we have these boot camps. We put on these camo shirts, we pretend that we're really tough, and they split us into 2 teams, 2 even teams, so it's kind of competitive. And we have 10 boot camps, and at the end of the 8 weeks, we have a winner. So I don't know how to describe these boot camps. They're really, well, okay, I'll start. Our most famous one's probably when we tried to do a mile of burpees. It didn't really work out. We did 1 lap, and that took 45 minutes, and they said, okay, just please stop. And that was the end of that. And then we do lots of going up stadiums, lots of campus runs. We ran to the Kishwaukee River just for fun and back. Lots of good stuff like that. And at the end of the day, we all got a lot stronger. It's really good for our freshmen because they're kind of faced with obstacles where you don't really think your body can do it, and if you give up mentally, like, you have no chance. So the upperclassmen really help them with, like, if you believe you can, that kind of good stuff. So at the end of the summer, we're a lot stronger, we're a lot tougher than we were at the beginning. So going out of the summer, we had 3 weeks off. So most people went home. A couple of us stayed on campus because we just wanted to keep using the facilities. I stayed on campus. I kept lifting. We kept working out. Me and Allie Mae, my roommates, Michaela, all stayed. So after those 3 weeks, we started the full semester. And so that's when everyone came back. And that's kind of when we started getting back into things, back into our regular routines. What did we do then? Well, we started lifting and conditioning and then we started our official preseason at the end of September. So preseason is pretty famous around here. We all know the month of October as an athlete is pretty intense. We have a lot more hours on the court. We go from 8 hours to 20 hours. So during October, we have around 2.5 hour practices every single day. But it is also a really exciting time because you get better and you get better quick. So during these practices, we spent a lot of time learning our offenses, learning our defenses, playing against each other, playing against our practice players. And we started probably about 2 weeks ago, and from there to now, we're a completely different team. So it's really exciting going into the season, how much we got better in 2 weeks, and then how much we'll probably get better in the next 2 months. So going into the season, I'm really excited. I think we're going to be a really interesting team to watch. Going off what Coach said today, I think compared to last year, this year's going to be really exciting because instead of having around 3 scorers, we're going to have 7. We're going to have 8, 9 scorers. So hopefully we put a lot more points on the board. We play a better defense, and I think it's going to be a really good year. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
She didn't ask for questions. Anybody have questions for Courtney?
She done that, didn't she?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
What is her motivation behind the flames on her car?
Oh, wow.
Okay.
A moment of weakness.
Okay, so I do have flames in my car. You can probably see it if you leave. A lot of people have asked me that, and I don't know. It just kind of happened, to be really honest with you. Me and Gabby were so bored last summer. I bought a can of spray paint. I was like, okay, let's just do it. And I thought it was funny for about 2 weeks, and I don't think it's funny anymore, but I'm just kind of going with it. That's about does anyone else have any questions? Sure.
Was learned that there was upgrades in was it in the weight room?
Uh-huh.
Are you girls able to take benefit from the upgrade that they made?
Yeah, so Northwestern Medicine just sponsored for our nutrition center. I think that's coming in next spring, so I'll probably be done by then. But all of our girls are going to have access to that. So like before like our 6 a.m. lifts, we can get breakfast. After our 6 a.m. lifts, we can get lunch, that kind of good stuff. So I think we'll definitely benefit from that. So it's definitely going to raise the quality of the standard of the weight room now that we have such a big sponsor. So that's pretty exciting for the program, and it'll probably be around for a long time.
What are you going to do after graduation?
I'm hopefully going to try and play in Europe. When I finish my eligibility in March, I can start talking to people. So I don't have any plans as of yet, but I'm hoping to play in Europe and then hopefully get a master's degree in something. I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out, hopefully, on the way.
Was the Olympic team?
I'd have to get a lot better, but maybe one day. Yeah, they're pretty good.
Do your friends give you trouble when you go home? You sound more American.
I know it. Yeah, it's
you
just
want the accent.
I get made fun of everywhere now. So I go home and they all make fun of me. I come back here, so it's kind of sneaks in and out now. Like you can hear it on the R's still, but it's kind of just messy now. Cool. Thank you.
I'll touch a little bit on the upgrades in the weight room, and Courtney got an opportunity to mention the nutrition center. With Northwestern Medicine sponsoring this event and all that they've done, I think the enhancements over there, again, the nutrition center, some of the other facility advancements though, and you guys hopefully will get an opportunity to see the new video board. You're going to love it. In my opinion, it really completes the convocation center, especially from a basketball standpoint. Because there's so much in-game things that it can do now, and you can see it clearly, and it's nice and it's big. I think it's really going to provide just another huge step in the right direction from an atmosphere standpoint. The upgrades that we've had in the last year, I think, is a great testament to a lot of people, but also tells you that NIU is, again, really moving forward in a lot of ways, which is exciting. Does anybody have any other questions for me before I introduce?
Do the upgrade now in the convo center, are we going to be able to hear the PA system?
I would guess yes. I mean, if Brad does his job and enunciates, then I would think that we're going to be all
but
good.
It's like it's underwater.
I mean, I think all of those things will be enhanced. Again, the video board is not necessarily the acoustics, but I think you'll see that it will all be much,
The old
much
sound
better.
system was terrible.
Yeah, I don't know if I can answer that. I'm optimistic though that it's going to be great. That's all I can say. All right, well, I'm going to introduce our next guest, first year head women's soccer coach, Julie Colhoff. I've known Julie for quite some time. We actually were at Lewis at the same time for an abbreviated amount of time. I have talked to her periodically throughout this first season, as everybody's first season can be a little bit rough sometimes. And I think there's a lot of similarities between what she's trying to do with women's soccer and when I first got here, what we were trying to do with women's basketball as far as a transformation in style of play. And that's a difficult transformation for anybody. But hopefully we can continue to lay a little bit of a blueprint on what she wants to have happen from a women's soccer standpoint. An outstanding player at Loyola where she was a 4-year starter, and I think they won 3 conference championships, so winning is in her blood, which is awesome. She's going to talk a little bit about her program right now and what's going on with women's soccer. So Julie, come on up.
Thanks, Lisa. Hi, everybody. Super excited to be here. I've been hearing all about Coffee with Carlsen for several months now, so I'm excited it's finally here. But I just want to start out by talking a little bit, like as Coach Carlsen mentioned, this being my first year as a head coach as well. I feel very, very fortunate to be part of this community specifically. And I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know, but it has very much proven true that this is a family environment to be part of, specifically at NIU, but then even the extension of NIU into the DeKalb community. So after every game, whether it's a win or a loss, I'm getting emails, texts from coaches and also from people in the community just saying either congratulations, that was great, or hey, stick with it, keep working. And that means a lot to me, and it means a lot to the team. So we appreciate your support. And I definitely appreciate the support of the coaches in the department. I mean, I'm surrounded, obviously, as you could tell, by great company. And as a first-year head coach, that means a lot for me to be able to go and bounce ideas off of them, to get those words of encouragement when things haven't always gone our way. It definitely keeps us motivated and persevering. So I appreciate all you guys for your support. This season, as Lisa mentioned, has been full of its share of ups and downs, and I think a lot of it comes from basically the 2 goals that we've had, the 2 objectives coming into this year were, 1, adjusting our style of play. So looking to play more high-pressure, attack-minded soccer, which is a little bit different from what they've played traditionally. And then the other side of that she also alluded to is just investing in the culture. I'm a big believer that you can have really good coaches and you can have really good players, but you can never really tap into that greatness if you don't intentionally invest in your culture day after day. So those have been 2 of the main objectives that we've been working on this season. And each day, kind of again to echo what Coach was saying, I can say with confidence that our team has gotten better and that each player has been willing to learn, which as a coach, you can't ask for much more than that. So adapting to new style has been something that we have worked hard at doing, and then have come across some hard luck too, just with injuries. So unfortunately, we've had a majority of our games where other teams have been able to play basically twice as many players as we have, just because of some unfortunate turns of events. So it's a couple concussions, ACLs, things of that nature. But the thing I think as a coach that makes me most proud of my players is that at no point have any of them said that that's an excuse for anything. So one of our core values is resilience. And I think that we have done a very good job. They have done a very good job of making sure that, if there's a brick wall in your way, you find a way to get through it, whether it's over it, under it, around it, breaking it down, they're trying to do it and they're sticking with it. So that, again, as a coach, makes me very pleased. And I think as we move forward, that mental toughness, kind of like Courtney was alluding to also as she was speaking, is something that's going to really help us in the future. We're a young squad, so we have a lot of younger players playing. We return a lot of people next year, so again, that's something that's really exciting, and I think all of this kind of delayed gratification is going to come into play as we start to turn the corner here for next season. We have a lot of people that are local or from local communities or suburbs of Chicagoland, so that's exciting, obviously, to have homegrown talent around and contributing on the field. We have some freshmen playing some huge minutes for us. Trudy Kwidzinski is one of them. She's really been a team leader for us right as a freshman, which is incredible. So coming in, playing in the midfield, and basically doing anything that we ask of her. We need her to score, she scores. We need her to defend, she defends. So that's great, and will be something that we'll continue to build around, and I think she'll inspire that in her future teammates as well. We're coming off of a big win on Sunday against Central Michigan. So it's senior day. We won 2-1, which was great. That's a really special group, and they'll always be a special group to me, obviously being my first senior class here. But I think a lot of what we're doing is in large testament to them because, our team mission statement is basically to relentlessly pursue self-actualization, motivated by the desire to contribute to our best selves to something greater. And I think those seniors have really, really embodied that. They work tirelessly every single day. Some of them don't play a minute, whether it's due to injury or just because somebody ahead of them is outperforming them, but they're always there working and they're bought in. And I'm keenly aware that most new coaches don't necessarily have the support of especially a senior class who basically is asking to do everything new. And I feel extremely grateful and fortunate that I do have that in those 6 players. And I think the team has benefited from that because I can only imagine how difficult it would be to be part of something that's new, have a new coach, have everything you've been taught kind of thrown out the window and say, okay, now we're going to do it like this. And to believe, that you're being part of something that's improving, but to also at the same time know that your days in that program are limited. And to their credit, they have done a great and amazing job at really knowing that what they're working for, they're not going to see the results of right away necessarily, but that they're leaving a legacy behind that will inspire kind of the future generations and build the program from there. So I'm extremely, extremely grateful for those 6, and then obviously the rest of the players that are working kind of off of their lead. But moving forward this season, we have 3 games left, unfortunately all on the road. Otherwise, I'm sure you all would be out there in the cold with us. But yeah, so we'll be headed to this week, Ohio and Kent State, and then we close out at Western Michigan. So it's been a good ride this first season. Like Coach was talking about, we're looking to build the program, to adjust the culture, become more mentally tough, but then also to work on our style of play and hopefully give you guys a product that you guys can be proud of and you'll be excited to showcase here in DeKalb and obviously everywhere else we go. But if there are any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Make a comment. Kudos to your girls. I see them went into the volleyball games in Mass, and
yeah,
they support the other girls.
Yeah, they are diehard Husky fans. I can tell you that much. We had our 2019 commits all on campus, and even those ones are like, can we go to the volleyball game? Can we go to the men's soccer game? Can we go to this? And we're like, yeah, let's go to the football game. Let's go to this. So they definitely are true Husky fans, which is awesome. And that's another great thing about the community. We have players out from other teams at our games all the time, heckling the other team's goalies and all that. So we appreciate that for sure. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys.
All right, I'm back for the raffle. I'm telling you what, I'm going to go through a brick wall today. I don't know. Julie, I'm ready. Let's go. Yes. All right. Coach, you want to help me? Right there. Okay, for your enjoyment here, we have some new Coffee with Carlsen shirts. I appreciate people wearing their old ones, but we have some new ones today, and you can choose from the back. Price is right back there with Quinn and Adam. First winner, 955756. Yay, Joni! Hopefully they're not from the same table. Coach, let's get this right. All right, we're going to do 5 of these, by the way. Next winner, 955750. Oh, same table, Coach. Get it right. These people are they're gonna coup or something against you. All right, 955757. Yes, in the back. Good job. Different tables. Good job, Coach. All right, this is number 4, lucky number 4, 955759. Yes. Again, lots of choices back there. I think what's going to go are these Coffee with Carlsen shirts. Last one, 955751. I was about to say, that's got to be you, because 750 was next door neighbor there. You guys are going to be matching at home. I don't know. Coach Carlsen, that was her. Where's my notes? Alrighty then, we're going to wrap up here. She hid my notes conveniently. All right, make sure we copy everything. So the next Coffee with Carlsen is November 13th. We have Coach Myers and Coach T-Berry coming in from track and cross country. So between now and then, right, we have the preseason WNIT. Coach talked about that. We're really going to try to have a lot of people at that event. That's on November 8th. That's our first time you're really going to see us play a real game. We are planning on having the entire marching band at that game. The entire marching band. So I think there's like 200 members. So that's going to be super fun and loud. So we talked about the earplugs. You might want to bring them there as well. So just a heads up. Again, Coach mentioned the volleyball match on November 3rd. That's their next one. And then we have that game exhibition against St. Francis that night. So there's a little bit of a gap, and we talked about that being a little bit of a problem. But you know what? I think it's a good idea. We're going to go to volleyball, go have some dinner at Fatty's, and then come back for women. Other way, women's basketball, volleyball. Sorry, thanks. Yeah. Okay, so yes, please join us for the video board unveiling. That is on Sunday. Come see it. It is pretty cool. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until the 3rd to see it. And then the big blowout on the 8th when we open against Yale. So thank you. I'm not going to ask you questions because this is really scaring me. So I'm not going to ask for questions publicly. But if you want to grab me after, I'd be glad to answer any questions for you. But really appreciate everybody showing up today. Really great crowd. Bring 15 friends so we can fill this whole thing up. Because there's a whole other room that way. Right? There's a whole other room. So if we have 100 people here, how great would that be? But again, really appreciate the growth of this program. I love the fact that we can support all of our women's sports programs year over year and month after month. So we'll see everybody in November. Stay warm. Go Huskies. Thank you.